So, welcome everyone to our second webinar series from Think Wildlife Foundation. Today we have Sohom Seal to talk about um, GIS and remote sensing and conservation biology. So this will be about 45 minutes. The presentation will be about 45 minutes, followed by about 10 to 15 minutes of questions. This is recorded and it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, which I'll send a link to, and it'll be great if you guys can subscribe. If you guys want to host a webinar for us, I will be sending a link to a form which you guys can fill up and host a webinar for us. If you guys have any questions, please either type it in a chat or raise your hand. We'll take the questions at the end. Yep. So do you want to get started?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Anish. Shall I share the screen now?
Yep. Just before you start, the links are in the chat right now. The links to the webinar and the YouTube channel. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yep. So yes, you can start now. Yes.
Yes.
Are you able to share the screen?
Yeah, I'm going to share the screen. Yeah, is it visible?
Yep.
Fine. Yeah, so it's in presentation mode, right?
Yep, it's in presentation mode. You can start.
Yeah, fine. Okay, thank you, Anish. Yeah, a very good evening to everyone. And a very happy GIS day. So I think it's a today is the best day that we can talk about remote sensing and GIS. So to start off, I will take you through a journey that I had in Andamans and in Tamil Nadu. So this picture has been taken in Andamans, nearby to Twins Island by one of my colleagues, Sagar. So to start the discussion, you can see how vast is the habitat where we work on. So basically, we work on in the marine habitat. So as you know, the oceans are they have no limits. So to do manual surveys or to go every place and to do surveys there to see what is there in and around, it's very difficult. So in that sense, remote sensing comes into action to do surveys or to come up with results, outputs uh, where we cannot reach. So from this image, you can see, you can see the boat that I used for my surveys, and you can see also myself, like I was just snorkeling around to see if there are sea grasses or corals around. So this picture talks about how what are the limitations that we face while doing the manual surveys, and what are the advantages that we have while using remote sensing and GIS techniques. In these days, as you know, there is a boom that has come up with the new national geospatial policy that India has launched, and also uh, there is a great infusion of money. At this point of time, 30,000 crore is the size of the spatial data and mapping industry in India. And accordingly, as Jack Dangamont from ACE said, GIS is waking up the world to the power of geography, the science of integration, and has the framework for creating a better future. With this, I will introduce the title of today's talk, that is the science of whereabouts, the kind of remote sensing and GIS technology that we use in conservation biology. And also we'll be talking about a little bit of modeling, how you are using species distribution modeling or environmental niche modeling in conservation of species. To give a brief introduction of myself, I am Sohom. I am currently working as a senior research fellow in Wildlife Institute of India, and I'm also doing my PhD from the same institute. Uh, in my PhD thesis, I'm working looking at the uh, critical dugong habitats. I'm trying to model the criticality of these habitats by analyzing different biological and anthropogenic factors. Before this, I did my post graduation in forestry from Forest Research Institute. And yeah, in my leisure, I love doing digital painting and cartography. So if I don't know, can you please let me know in the chat box if you know what cartography is? Like we'll try to keep this webinar not like so dry. We'll try to keep it interactive. So if anyone can say what cartography is. You can unmute yourself or you can just type it in the chat box. Yeah. As Neeta and Devan said, map making. Yeah. So yeah, you have rightly said it's basically the art of map making. So how we can make your maps beautiful, not only beautiful. One part is the science and another part is the arts. So you should not forget the fact that map also conveys a lots of message that you need to give to your audience. So your map should be beautiful. Alongside your map should be informative as well. So yeah, that is cartography which I mean. So I love to play with different aspects of cartography or different options that cartography provides. So as per today's session, the timeline will go like this. That will I will Since I think we have a very mixed kind of audience here. So for them, maybe remote sensing and GIS is a very new concept here. So for them, or like people who are working as well, so maybe a brush up to them. So I will first introduce and define the concepts of remote sensing and GIS. We'll talk about some very basics, like types of sensors or softwares or data repositories that we use for this kind of studies. Some very basics of ecological modeling that we do that I already said in terms of ecological niche modeling or species distribution modeling. And also we'll look at some case studies regarding this remote sensing and modeling. After that, we'll also try to look at what kind of studies that we are conducting right now under the aegis of Camper Dugong project or Camper Recovery of Dugong Recovery Program. Since there are many students also registered in this webinar, I will also share a slide which will just give a glance of what are the courses which are available to learn these technologies and which are the institutes we can enroll to learn this kind of technologies. So to give an introduction about remote sensing and GIS, what you need to just know is the art of photography, and and like to learn this skill, photography. What else do you need? You need to have a camera. Either you need to click your photo when sunlight is there, or you need to have a camera with a flashlight when you are not having that much light, like in a background light is not there. So there are two kinds of camera which you need to have to basically illuminate your subject either in sunlight or with flash. So yeah, you click a photo of like that and then you process it to beautify it or to come up with good results, right? So this is the concept behind the photography, and we'll try to learn this remote sensing and GIS technology, keeping analogy to this skill of photography. Yeah. So this imagery gives a workflow or a flowchart. what is the technology and how the imageries are processed. As I said, you need to have a camera. In remote sensing and GIS, what is the camera here? These are the sensors that are fixed in the satellites. So either you have two kinds of sensors, or there are two kinds of remote sensing techniques. One is passive remote sensing, the kind that I was talking about when you are clicking the photo in broad daylight, like when there is sunlight to illuminate your subject, then it's passive remote sensing. But another kind is active remote sensing. In that sense, like when you are clicking the photo when you are not having that much of light around, so you need to use a flash. So here also there are some active remote sensors which click photos, or which have such imageries, some like very high resolution imageries, which comes in this active remote sensing. So what are the components that you need to have? One is the source of light, that can be your flash or sunlight. What is your subject here? The earth surface. Whatever is there in the earth surface, that is your subject. So sunlight, your subject, that is earth surface. Camera, that is the sensors that are fixed in the satellites. And there is a ground component where you process the imagery. Basically the softwares or the data repositories where they process the imageries to uh, come up with output maps, or come up with informations that we are seeking for. Yeah. So what is remote sensing? To define it as this meme you can see, remote sensing is just like obtaining the data or information without in physical contact. So in our childhood days, we have seen um, the transition uh, of a TV system. Like previously, we used to go to the TV and change the channels, and after that, the remote came in. So where we can change the channels and everything, like all the functions we can change, like using a remote. So basically, not going to or not touching the television system, but use from a distance. So the remote sensing, as it says, it's the same thing that is being implemented here. So it talks about remote sensing is defined as the acquisition of information about an object without being in physical contact with it. So yeah, so this is it. You are getting the information of your subject, that is the Earth surface, uh, without being in physical contact with it. So basically sensing remotely. Hope it's clear to everyone. Moving ahead, there is a very basic difference in remote sensing and geographical information system, or what GIS is concerned. As I said, remote sensing is basically the science or the technology behind this. And what GIS does is, so the satellite or the sensor, it has uh, clicked the photo, or it has the imagery, but that imagery needs to be processed to come up with uh, results, or to come up with the information that we are seeking. So this technology that processes the imagery to show us with some output is the GIS, or the Geographic Information System. So basically, it's a system that creates, manages, analyzes, and maps all kinds of data. So as you can see, this is a satellite imagery of part of Kolkata, and after the processing in GIS, it gives you the information about the live traffic condition in these streets or in these roads in Kolkata. So moving ahead, I think someone's mic is still on. I'm not sure who is it. Uh, if you can please mute yourself. Yeah. So moving ahead, Um, uh, we'll try to see how this remote sensing works when we are working in the field of forestry or in marine or wherever you are doing your work. So I think many of us know why we see plants green. So basically the sunlight, which is white in color, basically why white is white in color? Because it's having all kinds of bands there. So that's why it's white. So the chlorophyll or the mesophyll tissues that is present in the leaves, they absorb the light and it reflects back the green light. That's why we see the leaves or see the forests green in color. Yeah, from this graph, as you can see, so basically the sensors record this reflectance. That is basically the green light that is reflected back from the leaves or the forest. Sensor senses that green light. So basically this graph shows you the reflectance versus a wavelength curve, where we call it as signatures basically. So the green one is the signature for green vegetation, the red one is the signature for soil, and the blue one is the signature for water. So as you can see, all kinds of earth surfaces give very distinct kind of signatures, as you can see for soil, green vegetation, water. Even you can differentiate with different kinds of species that are available on the earth surface. So pine will give a different kind of reflectance, or sal forest will give a different type of reflectance. So by identifying these curves, you can also say these are the different kinds of vegetation that is present in this kind of forest area. Similar case for soil or similar case for water. So the kinds of sensors, as I already told you, there are two kinds of sensors we can broadly classify into, that is active remote sensing and passive remote sensing. Active is like maybe leader, where they emit bouts of energy which strikes the ground and then reflected back, and the sensor records that reflected energy and give you that information. And the another kind is when it is using the sunlight as the source of energy to record its imageries. Else, we can also classify the senses by the carrier. So the sensors can also be carried by UAVs or unmanned aerial vehicles, as we can say, or drones these days. We can see we can fix these sensors on drones to get some very high resolution imageries. But in case of drones, the disadvantages are um, it's not economic, because you need to buy your drones. Like drones are like 6 or 7 lakhs as per Indian rupee. You need to get those drones, and you need to have such skills to fly a drone. You need to have permissions to fly drones in certain areas. So these are the disadvantages that we have while we are using remote sensing in drones. Similarly, in airplanes or helicopters, we can fix these sensors. Same condition, like it's not obviously cost efficient. Also, it will have a very restricted, source. I think, I'm not sure. Like, if you can please mute yourself, maybe Nandini Iyer, or yeah, thank you. So as I was talking about aeroplanes or helicopters, you can fix your sensors in these aeroplanes or helicopters as well. Obviously, it will also give high resolution imageries, um, but here also it's not cost efficient, and also it will cover very small spatial extent. But these days, what we are looking at is the satellite imageries. So the sensors which are fixed on in the satellites, they they are continuously revolving around the Earth and continuously clicking the photos of the Earth's surface. Here, the resolution may not be that good or that fine scale as per UAV or drones or aeroplanes or helicopters are concerned. But yeah, it these days satellite imageries are as can give as good resolution of like 4 meters or 2.5 meters, like in case of Maxwell imageries like that. So yeah, so you can distinguish objects if they are 2.5 meters away of each other. So satellite imageries are that convenient. And yeah, and another advantage is that you get a temporal replicate of your study area. So basically, if you are doing remote sensing of India, so if you are getting the satellite imagery of today, the satellite will may come again after 15 days to the same spot. So in every 15 days time interval, you will be getting that imagery of your study area. So this is another advantage that that the satellite imageries give. So what kind of softwares that we can use here? Uh, Commercial softwares are those which you need to pay to get the license. But obviously they give more functionality, or they are more advanced. ArcGIS is a very convenient mapping software. By using Near-Earth Imagine or NV, you can analyze those images. ArcGIS mainly we use. Obviously, you can do image analysis of images in ArcGIS as well. But like I myself prefer ArcGIS to use it for making maps, and I prefer to use Near-Earth or NV to analyze the images. There are also open source softwares where you need not to pay anything. QGIS or Google Earth, these are the open source softwares which you can try. People who are new to this concept, they can obviously download this Google Earth software, and they can explore what are the options available there, how satellite imageries, or like how the Earth surface looks like, how you can distinguish between a forest area or a water area. So these things you can see by exploring this Google Earth, and then you can move ahead to the advanced stages, like maybe QGIS or maybe ArcGIS. But Google Earth is a very convenient and easy reach software by which you can learn. Data sources, as I was talking about, there are many data sources that are available. Mainly, I will talk about the freely available data sources. Landsat, that gives that you can get these imageries from Earth Explorer website. You can get the Sentinel imageries from Copernicus website, and obviously we have the Indian repository, that is Google. Landsat gives you the imageries at a resolution of 30 meters. Sentinel gives you the imageries as a resolution of 10 meters. Also, we'll talk about the Sentinel imageries in our later stages of the talk, where we'll see how Sentinel imageries are used in different studies, in conservation studies. These are till now we have been talking about the very basics of remote sensing and GIS. So hope this basics are clear to you. Then only we'll move ahead with the species distribution modeling or ecological niche modeling concepts. So if you can just give a thumbs up, or you can just type if these concepts are clear till now what we have discussed, like the remote sensing and the GIS topic. Or like you are free to ask questions if you feel to. Yeah, fine. Okay, thank you. So we'll move ahead with the species distribution modeling, or SDM, or ecological niche modeling. Uh, People who are working in the field of biology or ecology, for them, we are very like day in and day out, we come across these terms, niche or habitat. So as Krebs defined, niche is the ecological space occupied by a species, or we can, these days we are abbreviating this concept as the occupation of the species. Basically, what species is doing in that specific habitat. To discuss this topic in detail, we'll see this graphical representation. Like you can see this orange box where can see. So let's assume that this is the geographical space that a species can um, stay if there are no such factors, like there's no such boundaries or limitations available. Now let's see, we are saying, so in this circle, in this yellow circle bounded by red, so this is the circle or the area where it's having favorable abiotic factors uh, to flourish this species. So obviously the species will prefer to stay in this region. Moving ahead, now we are incorporating another sphere, that is the biotic factors. So now say this is the area where it's getting good biotic factors, like it's having good pre-availability here. So obviously the species will try to stay in the intersection region where the abiotic factors and the biotic factors meet. So yeah, this region. So this is the region which the species will prefer to stay. Now another factor, that is the movement factor. So this movement factor, basically we are restricting the movement of the species. This restriction may be derived by nature, maybe man-made. How derived by nature? Maybe you just assume that the Himalayas or a mountain range, though it's having good favorable conditions, abiotic and biotic factors is available, but because of that presence of mountain or because of that presence of say a river, the species, the movement of the species is restricted. So obviously it is not having that much area which it was assuming to have. Here this concept also comes in. These barriers can also be man-made, like say linear infrastructures like roads or bridges or dams. These are also barriers that we are creating, and we are restricting the movement of the species. So if this movement is also restricted, so basically the species is residing in this intersection area where all these three circles unite. So basically the abiotic factors, the biotic factors, and the movement factor. So we call it as the realized niche. Basically, if there is no restriction in movement, we call it as the potential niche of that species, basically the intersection region of that A and B. But when movement covariate comes into play, then we call it a realized niche. What we do in case of ecological niche modeling or species distribution modeling, we try to evaluate or we try to assess this potential niche, basically the intersection of the abiotic and the biotic factors. Why we are doing this SDM or ENM? Uh, like say for endangered species, like say for tigers, or these days cheetah is reintroduced. Uh, like to assess the area or to have an idea of where the distribution was or where the distribution is leading to in coming days, we do this species distribution modeling. And obviously in case of endangered species or species which are very rare, we don't have that much information or the occurrence data. We don't know where, so you can say the sighting data, we don't know where this species is. So in that sense, modeling is a way out where we can predict the distribution in present time scale or in future time scale also. Okay, so we'll see how, as we said, we'll try to see some case studies about remote sensing GIS, and also some case studies on modeling. So obviously, by using remote sensing and GIS, FSI comes up with this forest report where they say this much forest has increased this much cover has increased. Also, they comment on different forest types like mangroves, and also they comment on carbon stock. So this image, you can see this is a very good study that has been conducted by Cambridge and British Antarctic Survey, where they have studied the satellite imageries and counted wells from the imageries. You can see they have identified the flukes of the wells, leaps from the satellite imageries. But yeah, they have used very high resolution imageries for this. As you can see, they have used digital globe imageries for this analysis. For to use these digital globe imageries, these are paid as of now. But we also see some studies, or the as of now we are using Sentinel imageries, which is having 10-meter resolution to map seagrasses and corals. This is a kind of, there's a mixture of modeling or remote sensing here. So this talks about how the movement of species is happening in United States. So as you can see, the movement is towards north. So as we all know that with the changing climatic conditions, so it's the climate, or what you can say, the climatic regions are getting shifted towards north. So that's why we can say the movement is happening in this way, and in future maybe the movement will continue in this way. Another study that has been done by NRSC and ISRO, recently many of us knew that Assam was having a devastating flood in Kaziranga National Park. So here you can see this is the satellite imagery that ISRO and NRSC processed, and they come up with the area which has been devastated by flood. So this previously, you can see this is the river, Brahmaputra River, and after the flood, you can see this is the black region, flood inundation region, which has been greatly affected because of this flood. We'll see a video where remote sensing or satellite imageries has been used to record the penguin colonies in Antarctica. So basically, penguins show a behavior of pooping around. So like, also you can see these poops in many marine birds, where you can identify those poops from the satellite imageries, and you can come up with the result that these are the identified colonies, or these are the areas which are being frequented by these birds. Moving ahead, so this is a study that has been conducted by the Forest Department of Maharashtra and Wildlife Institute, where they have tagged 4 marine turtles to see their activities. So this is the first turtle that is being tagged. So they have named it as Prathama. These are the female turtles. And just a quick fact about that, only the female turtles, they come to the shore to lay eggs, and after laying eggs, they go back to the sea. So that's why they have tagged 4 female turtles to see their how frequent they are coming back to the shore. And yeah, after some months, we got a very good data. So as I said, 4 turtles has been tagged. So they are named as Prathama, Tavni, Vanashri, and Rewa. All of them, 3 of them has been tagged from Ratnagiri, and 1 of them has been tagged from Mahabaleshwar. So as you can see, Prathama has traveled till almost Gujarat, and Rewa has traveled southwards towards Karnataka. So these are the information that we can see by using satellite, like not satellite imageries, by tagging individuals or. Yeah, so this is also a technique. Remote sensing and GIS technique has also been used by different forest departments. Like if you can identify what this instrument is, if anyone can comment on the comment section, or you can just unmute yourself.
A trapper.
Yeah, yeah. Your name, please. Fine, fine. Okay, thank you. You have rightly identified. It's basically a so it's basically a trap uh, that the poachers are using. So when the animal steps on this trap, they get entangled by this. What they have studied is basically M stripes is a monitoring system that has been introduced by NTCA to monitor and to patrol the forest areas. So in the first map that you can see is these are the patrolling routes that the forest department is conducting, and they have found while patrolling they have found some traps. In the second map, in the right hand, this map, you can see these are the traps. These are the traps they have encountered while patrolling. So after encountering these traps, they increased their intensity of patrolling in these areas, like say in this western part and this southern part. And what results they came up with is that with increasing in patrolling, the illegal activities has declined. You can see this patrolling intensity and illegal activities. The graph says that's inversely proportional. So as the patrolling activity has increased, the illegal activities has also declined. This study is another study that has been done in Wildlife Institute of India. So it's an ongoing study that is being done. Can anyone identify this bird species?
Jacobin cuckoo.
Yeah, great, very good. So it's Jacobin cuckoo, or we call it as chatak. So there is a proverb that goes on in India that why it's called as chatak is it seeks water everywhere it goes. It seeks water. So or you can call it as the messenger of monsoon or harbinger of monsoon. So what it does is it flies along with the monsoon winds. From this map, just have a look of this. In January, February, March, it's in southern India, and as the monsoon sets in, it moves ahead towards North India, Central India, and the distribution is all over the India, in particular in the monsoon. So this defines that if we track pied cuckoo, we can track monsoon as well, because obviously we cannot tag the monsoon winds, but we can tag is pied cuckoo, which can give information about the onset of monsoon and or the retreating monsoon. And what are the long-term conclusions or long-term inferences that we can draw from these studies? We can track climate change as well. So like say these days monsoon is arriving, like say in around May, June, but by tagging this cuckoo, we are seeing that pied cuckoo is arriving in say July, August. So basically monsoon is is moving ahead. So somehow maybe climate change is playing a role in this migration also. So yeah, this is the study that they are doing. By studying the migration of pied cuckoo, they can comment on the climate change. Talking about a bit of a case study that has been done in terms of modeling. So these days, as I was talking about in a previous slide, that the species are getting shifted towards north, since the temperatures are shifting towards north. temperature, rainfall, or the other climatic conditions, those are shifting towards north. That's why the species are shifting. So a new concept that came into being is the dynamic protected areas. Here, the paper that has been published is restricted to marine protected areas. They are commenting that we cannot have static protected areas in near future. Like say, uh, you can say the Bandhavgarh in current scenario of India may not be Bandhavgarh in near future. You may need to shift uh, to some other place as per your uh, species distribution, as per your other climatic factors and biotic and abiotic factors. So these future scenarios can only be commented if only if you can do some kind of modeling or prediction modeling to comment on. So yeah, so these are the case studies that has been done in that has this is that has been doing in the entire world. So now we'll be talking about what kind of remote sensing studies that we are working on. To just introduce our work, we'll just talk about a species that we are working on. We are working in the marine habitats to conserve a marine mammal, uh, which is commonly known as dugongs. So they are the only extant species which is exclusively herbivorous. They feed on seagrasses, and as I said, they feed on seagrasses. Uh, their species or distribution is highly correlated with the distribution of seagrasses. As you can see in the Indian scenario, previously it was found in the entire coastline of India, Pakistan, China, but presently they are restricted the in only in some pockets, like say in the Gulf of Kutch region of Gujarat, Pak Bay and Gulf of Mannar region of Tamil Nadu, and in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Uh, so in these regions, you need to have areas, you need to identify areas where you need to focus your management resources to save the species. As you can see in this slide, only 200 individuals is left. That is also an approximation, and also we are this is basically this is not an estimation also, like it's a guesstimate. We are guessing that maybe 200 or 250 individuals are left in the wild. We are not sure. Maybe less than 200 is left in the wild, or maybe more than 200 is there. And also the scenario of India is also a kind of, they can play a pivotal role as per dugong conservation is concerned, because as I told you, the distribution of dugongs was there from Pakistan to China, but recently China declared dugong functionally extinct. So, and from Pakistan, it's already extinct. So, India is the last hope where we have uh, some population of dugong left, and this is the reason, or this is the cause that we are working on to save this species. So we'll see how to save this species. As I told you, we need to see where the seagrasses are, where the favorable habitats are. To do this habitat sampling, we do field service in all these three sites in Gujarat, in Tamil Nadu, and in Andamans. And to give a glance of like what kind of survey we do and what a typical survey day looks like, I will just show you a video here. So this is a survey that we are doing in the Park Bay region. Yeah. So from this video, I think you might have seen us this thing like quadrant, drop-down quadrant. So what we do is we drop a quadrant in the sea or ocean to see if seagrass present or not. And as this is the imageries that you can see. So this is a quadrant dropped in a sandy substrate, where you can see there are no seagrass present. And in the second image, you can see there is a moderate coverage of seagrass. So to give a glance, like how when the quadrant goes down, how like how we record the seagrasses. So here you can see the quadrant will go inside the water and how it will record. So basically a GoPro camera is fixed above this quadrant. As it goes down, it uh, records a substratum. So yeah, this is how the quadrant looks like. It goes down. Yeah, and in this way, it records the seagrass patch. From these presence locations, what we do is we do a classification of the imageries, basically a supervised classification. Uh, we use Sentinel 2A and 2B imageries to do this mapping work. As I said you, these imageries are of 10-meter resolution. And right now we are using Google Earth Engine platform to classify these imageries. As I told you, you can also do this classification using those softwares like AirDust or ArcGIS or Envy. But why we use this Google Earth Engine platform is it needs some kind of coding here, Java coding. But the advantage that you have is once your code is ready, you can do any kind of you can run that classification for any number of times. Like say if I have coded that classification algorithm for Gujarat, I can repeat it for Andamans and Tamil Nadu like in a span of 2-3 minutes. So this is so when repeatability is concerned, I feel Google Earth Engine or this cloud mapping or cloud classification facilities are very convenient. But yeah, if you are just concerned with only one habitat and only one region and only one time period, then obviously you can go for these AirDust or ArcGIS or NV kind of software. So the limitations that we face while mapping this habitats is that you can see the first map, that is the Park Bay map and the Gulf of Mannar map. Okay, so you can see Park Bay is having extensive seagrass meadows. These green are the seagrass meadows. So and how though they share a single seascape, but you can see how varied varied they are in terms of seagrass distribution. Park Bay is having so much of seagrass there, but Gulf of Mannar it's having very less seagrass. So this is a duality of habitats that you will face, though they are closely located. Like only the northern part of the northern part is the Park Bay and the southern part is the Gulf of Mannar. Basically, the south of Rameshwaram is Gulf of Mannar. So, but though they are closely located, but they are very different in terms of seagrass distribution. Yeah, so these are some limitations also which you can see. The first image is the image that like from that same quadrant image that you can see from Park Bay region, which is yeah, it's you can see you cannot even identify what kind of substrate is there. It's too turbid. So in Park Bay, the water is like that only. Even in case of Gujarat, also the water is so turbid that we cannot even identify if those are seagrasses or algae or what is it, what is the substratum. So yeah, in Park Bay, the water is so turbid that we cannot infer what is the substratum. In Andaman Islands, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the water is clear. You can see it's very clear. But in this image, you can see there are algae, and algae have a very similar spectral signature that seagrasses have. So there is a confusion that it creates, algae, how will you be differentiating algae and seagrasses? So this is another scenario that we face, or that limitation that we face, and this is a perfect imagery. So there are seagrasses. The image is clear. You can clearly identify the seagrasses, presence of seagrasses, and you can also count the number of squares where the seagrass is present to comment on how much cover this area has. A kind of modeling study that we are also conducting by following this study, which has been done in Singapore. So they have also modeled dugong distribution. To go ahead with the study, I will just make you clear that presence of a species is not the only thing that you need to look at if you need to announce an area, or you are claiming that this area needs to be conserved. You need to have other covariates or other contributing factors uh, to comment on such, to have such to comment such in that broad sense. So in the first map that you can see is that they have modeled their distribution, the dugong distribution. So they have said that these are the regions which are highly suitable. So the dark blue regions, these are highly suitable regions for dugongs. But in the second map, you can see, so it doesn't look like wherever the dugongs are more suitable, the areas which are more suitable for dugongs, those are having high risk areas. So what they have done is they have overlaid the risk factor also, basically the fishing data. So the suitable region, highly suitable region, and which are also having high fishing pressure, those are the regions that to be saved, that needs to be conserved, where your managemental efforts should focus on. So following this study, we have also tried to model this. So what we have done is we have tried to model the distribution of dugong in the coast of Tamil Nadu, in the same Pagdi and Gulf of Mannar region, and then we overlaid the fishing pressure data. Basically, uh, where are the areas that they frequently go for fishing. Overlaying these areas, we can comment on these are the areas which are having high risk areas, and this needs to be conserved. So as you can see, there is a clear two red spots, or the clear red areas which are high risk areas in North Pagdi region. And recently, it's a success story of a project that this area has been uh, converted into a dugong conservation reserve. So this is the first dugong conservation reserve of the country that has been declared very recently. So North Pagdi region has been declared as dugong conservation reserve, and this is the first study, the first declaration of a protected area on the basis of a scientific study. As I said, these are, you can just take a screenshot of this slide. These are some courses that you can try on to learn this remote sensing GIS or modeling techniques, or even I was talking about Google Earth Engine um, to have some exposure of coding. So you can try these courses. There are courses from in IRS. They have some online courses as well. EduSat. IRS also conducts some MSc courses. There is a very good opportunity for early career researchers or people who are doing their masters or bachelors. There is a program in Space Application Center, Ahmedabad, named as Trees or Smart. So these are the programs that you can try. So these are the fully funded programs. SWAM also have some online courses. You can see what are the courses available there. These days, Udemy, Coursera, Biologia, TGIS, Albedo Foundation, or the Nature Side, they also provide some GIS courses and freely available satellite imagery. ASRI particularly, they have also some MOOC courses, massive online open courses. Also, INCOIS have also started to give some courses related to marine remote sensing. If you are concerned only on marine, how to analyze the satellite imageries, to comment on comment on like sea surface temperature or ocean color mapping, then you can obviously try this institute in COIS. Yeah, so that's all from my side. Thank you for being in this webinar. I sincerely thank Think Wildlife Foundation for giving me this opportunity to sharing my um, experience with you all. And we have a magnificent field team in from our project. They are putting up some tireless efforts in field. Like obviously, we remote sensors or people who are working in this technical ground, it's impossible if you are not having in situ data. And to collect this in situ data, people need to work in field. So these are the field people who are putting like magnificent efforts to bring in some unknown information. And yeah, I'm thankful to director and Dean WI for giving this opportunity to work in this project. You can connect with me in this by this email IDs and social network handles. Yeah, thank you. And once again, a very happy GIS Day to everyone.
Thanks, Sohom, for that. Does anyone have any questions? You can just unmute yourself or put the question in the chat or just raise your hand. Anyone? Okay, so I don't
I'm
think
not sure. Can you just check the chat box if anyone has any question?
yeah, so
Yeah, I think there have some. They have Smriti has a question.
how do you
How do you differentiate between seagrasses and algae in the substratum? Yeah, thank you, Smriti. It's a nice question. So it's really very difficult to comment on how we can differentiate the spectral signatures of seagrasses and algae, specifically the green algae or the seaweeds. As of now, what we do is we collect the location data of seagrasses and also the algae or the seaweed region. Uh, and while giving that providing that in situ data to classify the imagery, will provide the seagrasses location and also the algae locations separately, so that while classification it already gets differentiated. But yeah, we cannot comment on that very like with full accuracy. But yeah, we are trying. We are rather not trying. We are struggling to differentiate the signatures between seagrasses and algae.
That's a good question. Any more final questions? Don't be shy, you can ask.
Yeah, please ask. Like, else it would have been very dry webinar. So I really avoid this kind of webinars where just one is talking or speaking and like everyone is listening. So you can ask me, or if you can, like, even if you want to get involved with our project, so there's our scopes to volunteer in this project also. If you seek for such opportunities, you are free to contact.
Nandini Iyer has a
Yeah.
question. So could you explain about the dynamic protected areas again?
Yeah, sure. Nandini, so this is a new concept that is coming into place, that say a region, as I was saying, that recently North Pagwe region has been declared as the Dugong Conservation Reserve, right? So you don't know in near future, like say in coming 50 years or in coming 100 years, so the conditions will be same. So maybe it may shift towards north, it may shift towards south. So at present, the kind of conditions, the kind of abatic factors, the kind of biotic factors that are prevalent in North Pagwe may move, like let's assume, has moved towards Orissa. So we need to uh, like shift that protected area to Orissa, right? So this is the concept that the protected area should not be static, so it should be dynamic. So with that we can change with the changing climate. Hope that now you are clear with this concept.
Smriti has a question. How do you generate code/algorithms using Google Earth?
Yeah, okay, Smriti. So basically, in the kind of classification that we are doing right now to map seagrasses, so we are using some machine learning algorithms which are available in Google Earth, and you can just Google it too. But yeah, you need to have some little bit of coding, like coding knowledge to understand those codes and syntaxes if you come across errors and syntaxes. Else it's easy. You just need to give your presence locations, and then you just can run that algorithms. These algorithms and codes are already given in that Google Earth, uh, what you can say is Google Earth interface. Well, okay, which language? So Google Earth engine uses JavaScript. Also, you can code it in Python. So yeah, Python and JavaScript are the languages that commonly used for this classification. And also, you can do some kind of what you can say, some kind of customization in ArcGIS or whatever softwares you are using. Every software has an interface where you can code using Python script as per your objective or as per your need. All the softwares use Python language for this customization.
Any more questions? Yeah, I think that is the last question. So thank you, Sohom, for your presentation. It's really nice. So we will be uploading this on YouTube for those who want to rewatch it and stuff. So yeah, thanks for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Anish. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.